If pulled over by the police in my car, what information do I have to provide the officer? In Indiana, if a officer pulls over a person for a traffic violation or ordinance violation, or even if they just stop in the street for an ordinance violation because a person littered, well, then the person who's been stopped must, by law, provide name, address, and date of birth, or the driver's license. If a person does not provide that, that's actually a crime. So a traffic violation is not a crime, it's an infraction, but failure to provide the information required by law turns that traffic violation into a crime. Again, refusal to identify. This refusal to identify law is not limited to only traffic violations. It applies to even walking on the street. If an officer sees you knock over a mailbox or throw litter on the ground, or even if a passenger throws a cigarette out the passenger window, those are all ordinance violation. Officers are allowed to stop and ask for the person accused of the ordinance violation for their name, address, date of birth, or driver's license. This kind of gets messy fast. If you're in a vehicle, well, an officer has to observe a traffic violation in order to stop you. So if you've been stopped by a police officer, it's safe to assume, even though it may not feel fair, and even if the officer will not tell you why he stopped you, it's safe to assume he's going to have a reason listed as a reason he stopped you. So if you're being pulled over by the police, I'm not telling you to answer any of their questions. I'm not telling you to tell them where you've been, where you're going, what you've been up to. But I am telling you, if you've been stopped on the street, you do have to provide your name, address, and date of birth, or a driver's license. But you're more than welcome to plead the fifth to questions. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? What have you been doing? I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Please be polite. These officers, they're doing their job, but at the same time, you have no duty to aid in their investigation of you. You don't. Don't ever feel like you have to answer questions. Now, a lot of people watching this video say, well, Mark, I've nothing to hide. If I'm speeding, I deserve to get a ticket. Okay, but Indiana does allow pretextual stops. So that means they're allowed to, hey, you know what, that person looks suspicious. I'm going to follow that person until they do a traffic violation. I'll pull them over because I want to see what they're doing. I want to see where they're going. Don't help in things that are so unfair as a pretextual stop. That's ridiculous. The fact that that's still legal in this day and age is actually ridiculous, and it offends me personally. But it's the law. I can't change it just yet. If you're a passenger in a vehicle and the officer pulls somebody over and says, hey, you're speeding, the officer is more than allowed to ask a passenger or passengers for their identification, but passengers do not have to provide identification if they've been stopped. They didn't do an ordinance violation or traffic infraction. So an officer can ask, hey, can I have your ID? No. Officer probably going to get upset. Why not? Everybody else complies. You must have a reason to hide. Well, the reason is officers get upset because people so often just comply with officers. Okay, no problem. Here you go. Well, you don't have to do that. A passenger in a vehicle that's been pulled over must stay within the vehicle. That is an officer safety issue. And if a person gets out of the vehicle and tries to walk away, and the officer says, hey, stop, can't do that, and they continue to leave, now that's also a crime called resisting law enforcement by flight. So while passengers do not have to provide identification in a stopped vehicle, so long as they did not commit an infraction by throwing a cigarette butt out the window, then they don't have to provide identification, but they have to stay within the vehicle. Again, officer safety, that's resisting law enforcement if they don't comply. So I encourage everyone to exercise their rights. I plead the fifth when questioned by officers, but when stopped for an ordinance or traffic violation, provide their name, address, date of birth, or driver's license. If you have any questions about Indiana law, criminal law, traffic law, give me a call, 317-632-3642. I will talk about this all day. This is a passion of mine. But most importantly, remember to always plead the fifth.